your reason.
And yes, we're good to go.
The meeting, the Protection and Policy meeting for October 28th, 2019 is now in session. Begin with the roll call. Is Alder Stoyer present?
Present.
Is Alder Vanderleest present? Yeah, and Alder Stevens.
Present.
And myself, Alder Scannell. We're all here. Hail, hail. The gang's all here. Take a motion to approve our agenda.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Alder Vanderleest, second by Alder Stevens. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We have an agenda.
Minutes.
I'll take a motion to approve the minutes for our October 7th, 2019 meeting.
Motion approved.
A motion to approve by Alder Stevens,
Second.
second by Alder Stoyer. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Our minutes from our last meeting have been approved.
Okay.
On to regular business. Number one, consideration with possible action on an application for a Class B combination license by Fat Heads 2 LLC at 420 North Clay Street with a licensed premises description as one-story buildings sold in main bar, beverage store in main bar, shelving in locked office, walk-in cooler. Previously licensed as Live Entertainment LLC. Staff.
The law department has no objections. We just need to note that the establishment is in the old main moratorium set by resolution, but it falls within one of the exceptions as the prior license was surrendered within 60 days of this application.
Please concur.
Please concur.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Alder Vanderleest. Second by Alder Stevens. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That passes unanimously. And I should say, before I go any further, that everything we do here at the committee is just a recommendation to the council, which meets next Tuesday,
November 5th.
November 5th, at 7 o'clock in the room right
Six.
next door here.
6.
It-
Wasn't that 6? 7 o'clock?
Didn't I say 6?
No, you said 7.
Did I? Ooh, I'm on an old time school. 6 o'clock, thank you. 6 o'clock, and they have the final authority. So if you don't like anything we say, you can always make your final pitch to them, but usually you shouldn't have any trouble here. So on to number 2.
Yes.
Consideration with possible action on an application for a Class B combination license for Ophelia Rootsmacher at 1706 Main Street with a licensed premises description as bar, restaurant with full-service kitchen, full bar, stage, restrooms, dining booth and table, coolers, previously licensed as Homemade Southern Cuisine LLC. Staff?
1 second, the ordering is off in the agenda,
Oh,
or in the city clerk version, so I just want to make sure I'm on the correct item based on what the printed agenda is.
mm-hmm.
So we did Fat Heads. Okay, so the next is Ophelia, which is number 2, yeah, it's flipped. In the wrong order, okay.
How does that happen?
I don't know. So it's, the numbering is correct, but the order is incorrect on the listing. So we're on, and that's being pulled from city clerk, but we are on 1706 Main Street. Okay, so staff. No objections.
Please concur. Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Alder Sawyer, seconded by Alder Vanderleest. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. It's going to be difficult today, isn't it?
It's going to be very difficult today. Okay, now I think I'm on the correct one. Wow.
Noble Roots.
Yeah, it should be, but it's skipping ahead to Alder Weary's. Okay, now we are on Noble Roots.
Okay, item number 3, consideration with possible action for an application for an available Class B wine-only winery license for Noble Roots Brewing Company, LLC, at 2790 University Avenue, with a licensed premises description as outdoor patio, brew pub, tap room area. Staff?
Law department has no objections. However, the applicant is asking for an outdoor patio that doesn't conform to the current height requirements of our ordinance. So in order for this to be approved, there needs to be a waiver of 2/3 of council to waive the requirements. An example motion would be to recommend that council waive the ordinance requirements for an outdoor licensed premise and to approve the proposed outdoor premise as presented by Noble Roots.
It's not elevated enough?
No, it is. It just, I think on one side, it's not quite 6 feet.
The fencing?
They do have fencing, it's just not
Tall
as
enough.
high as our current ordinance.
Ordinance.
So what does the ordinance call for?
6 feet.
6 feet?
Impervious to the passing of drinks.
This is asked for what? How high? 8?
It is,
Well, it's gotta be less than that. If our ordinance
Or
is
less?
6,
6, okay. Well.
it's 5.5. It's 5
it's in the
3/4.
packet, I just need to pull it up really quick.
It should be in our,
Yeah,
I
I
just
believe they already have had this and been running it. They are now
Yes.
wanting to serve a cider beer, which requires them to get the wine
correct.
liquor
Right.
license.
so they're already serving out there.
Right, per
Okay.
state license, correct. In order to do the wine, they need a local license. I'm not sure if anybody's here to speak on it, because they might be able to
Yeah,
answer this
should we?
question a lot
Yep.
quicker than
We
me.
just.
Do you have a
I'll make the
question?
You will.
It looks like it's,
I mean, if you
Not
do, fine.
specific, not specifically.
Any questions? We don't have any questions.
okay.
Motion
Motion
to
to approve
approve
as
with,
stated.
as waive, okay,
Okay.
with the waiver, by Alder Steuer. Second by Alder Stevens, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? That's approved. It goes on to council.
All right. Now, we're on hearings. Okay.
On to item 4, consideration with possible action on request by Alder Chris Weary regarding the policies and procedures of the inspection department as it applies to communicating and working with constituents who request their alderman's assistance. Further, to discuss customer service standards and work expectations of inspectors. Investigate the addition of evening and/or weekend inspection hours. Recommendation to be made to Personnel Committee only pursuant to GBMC 2.06 subsection 9, which was referred to the Protection and Policy Committee for the Improvement
Yeah.
and Service Committee meeting September 25th, 2019. I have spoken with the Inspections Department. They are in the midst of a major overhaul, including their webpage, and they might want us to look at some ordinances to change and so on. And they ask us to hold this till our next meeting, and they will have a humongous presentation for us. I hear it might even have ponies and acrobats. And I've already spoken with Chris Weary about this, and he's absolutely fine with that. So I would take a motion to hold this.
Motion to hold.
Motion to hold by Alder Stevens.
Did you say?
So Alder Stevens,
Second.
seconded by Alder Steuer. All in favor? Aye. Oppose it? Okay, we are holding that until our next meeting. Can't wait for the ponies.
Okay.
On to 5, a request by Alder Burnett for discussion with possible action on creating an ordinance allowing golf carts on city streets. Now, we do have some information that I had printed out for us. I'm sorry, I meant to get that to staff earlier, so it would have been in our packets, but we have that. We also have Mr. Feeney here. He'd like to give a small presentation, and Mr. Burnett, Alder Burnett, who would you like to start it off? Okay,
Sure.
Alder Burnett will
Yeah.
kick us off.
Thank you, gentlemen. One thing I want to address from the beginning is that the communication is a request to discuss an ordinance regarding golf carts. I presented this, and that was probably not the best choice of words. It's more low-speed vehicles, which would include golf carts. So I've been in contact with Mr. Feeney, a constituent, for the last few months, and we were strategizing on how to bring this forward. Discussed a little bit with Sustainability Commission as well. exchanged emails with city staff member Dave Hansen, who, as you all know, is traffic engineer. Police department is aware of this. Had a further discussion with Mr. Feeney yesterday, and he has a very nice PowerPoint presentation that the chair has agreed to allow a presentation for. So with that, unless you have any questions for me, I suggest you open the floor to hear from Mr. Feeney and anyone else, and he can address the committee.
Motion to open the floor.
Thank you. Motion open the floor by Alder Steuer. Seconded by Alder Stevens. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The floor is now open. Mr. Feeney, if you'd like to come up and present, thank you. And
Thank you.
I think it'll show up over here.
Well, let's find out.
Is it all? Ooh, look at it. We are all set up. I would just start a fight.
You would.
Okay.
Before you begin, would you able to say your name and address?
My name is Michael Feeney. I go by Mike, 2961 Shelter Creek Lane, Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Thank you. I kind of forgot that.
I was gonna jump right
That's
there.
fine.
Where's the slideshow? Okay, I'm looking for the slideshow button on this.
Okay.
Is that right?
Mhm.
Thank you. All right, gentlemen, it's nice to talk to you again. I spoke to each of the four of you on the phone previously, trying to gain some information. My first time in front of a committee, so if I break any rules, I apologize in advance. The reason for me to be here today is quite simply ask for your help and support in gaining approval of personal transportation. So there's a lot of different terms inside of this. I'm going to try and get to that. We've called them golf carts, but they come in different sizes with different safety standards on them and different capabilities. So inside the presentation, we're going to try and define that a little bit. But for right now, let's just call this a presentation about personal transportation crossroads. Oops. Well. So in my research that I've been doing with the industry folks that sell personal transportation, this movement that I'm going to talk a little bit about tonight really isn't so much about golf carts, but it's about micro mobility and what's going on right now in the country. You know, certainly we've all seen the change in the way consumers want to get from one place to another with Uber, Lyft, the little two-wheeled scooters that you can lease and take from place to place. And so there's a real need here, seems like a movement that's underway to try and make that happen. So from that same industry resource, what I got was this identification of 3 different classes of small vehicles so that you could see really what creates the classes. If you start way to the left, golf carts. You know, basically maximum speed's about 15 miles an hour. Not a lot of safety equipment prescribed on these, and it's what you would expect to see on a golf course. The second one is personal transportation vehicle. That's a little bit different animal. As a matter of fact, the folks at Jim's Golf Carts out on Highway 41, they sell these, and they actually come with a speed limit of 20 miles an hour and a lot of safety features added to them. So it's got headlights, tail lights, horn, rear view mirror, and brake lights. And then the one out furthest to the right, which is interesting, when I first started to talk about this subject, you know, with my friends and people in the neighborhood, I didn't know, but low-speed vehicles already have Code of Federal Regulation documentation or language out there. They have state statute language out there, and they also have language inside of the ordinances for Green Bay. So the way I understand this, after talking to the police department, is that with proper notification and then with registration with the state, as the state prescribes, and the plate that comes with it, and all of those things, that's legal to drive on Green Bay city streets right now.
Any city street?
Well, I'll take that back. In the state statutes, it actually identifies roads that can be trafficked on and roads that can be crossed. And those are identified by speed limits.
I think when I talked to you on the phone, Mike, there was some concern about crossing, a major highway
Yep.
of some such sort, and I think that's one of the concerns that I'm sure you'll talk about.
Yeah, as a matter of fact. So I've had a couple of conversations with Dave Hansen, great resource, great guy to talk to. And one of the first things he says to me is, well, man, I got to think through where these fit in the hierarchy of all of the vehicles that use the over 400 miles of Green Bay streets. And so I thought, well, I got to think about that too, because you got to think about what would happen from a safety standpoint with these additional vehicles on the street. So what I did is just a quick chart on mass. So this is basically the size and weight of the vehicle that we're talking about. And I created a heavy to light hierarchy here with commercial trucks at the top and pedestrians at the bottom. As you can see, the LSVs, the PTVs, and the carts that I'm talking about all kind of fit in the middle of the hierarchy. Then I thought, well, it's not just mass, but it's also speed that we need to be concerned about. And I did the same thing here, fast to slow, and you can see LSVs, PTVs, and carts, again, are kind of sitting in the middle. So they're not going to be the apex vehicle that's out there on our roadways, and they're not going to be at the bottom of the chain either. There's something in between. So what I did is I took that chart, the classification chart on small vehicles that was given to me by my industry source, and I hope you'll excuse me for this, but I put low-speed vehicles over on the left-hand side because that's pretty much out there already, and there's ordinances and statutes that kind of support that. And I'll list what those things are so you can see, where they're allowed and where they're not. But I also want you to consider personal transportation and golf carts as additional items that would be considered for use on Green Bay city streets, as controlled by some of the things that I put into the presentation. And this is where the conversation would really need to happen between this committee, with the staff, with the police department, to make sure that we're looking at it the right way. I'll back up one time. As you can see, controlling operating street. This is the travel street. So what street am I on and motoring on? Well, it's low-speed vehicles, what it says in the state statutes, 35 miles per hour or less. What it says for a cross street is 45 miles or less. Now, what I'm suggesting, and just creating a framework for this, is for personal transportation vehicles, which have a maximum weight of 1,375 pounds, it would be 35 and 45 again, just as we have for the low-speed vehicles. But then for the golf carts, reduce that down to 25 and 35. Recognizing the fact that they don't have the same weight and same mass as the other vehicles do. Here's one that, vehicle identification. So when I started looking at this, I thought, how can we make this easy for people to use? So what I took a look at is vehicle identification. Right now, for the low-speed vehicles, they have to have a VIN number on them. And then that VIN number is on the application that goes into the state, and that's how you get your approval, using the VIN number. Personal transportation vehicles and golf carts do not have VIN numbers. They have manufacturer serial numbers. Right? So there's a pretty big difference between the three different classifications.
I don't know if I can interject.
Sure.
One of the, we have registration fees for automotive vehicles and that, and, if you had all three of these on city streets, one of these is licensed because you can get a license and you have the VIN number, but the other two don't. And I don't know if that would cause an issue in your mind.
Well, the way I tried to get at that is to say, the way I would like to see it regulated, and I'm throwing this out there, is the same way we do bicycles. And that would be at the city level with a tag or a sticker that goes on it. Maybe the police department would have to be involved. I don't know if you do this on bicycles or not, but when a bicycle comes in, you have to check it to make sure it operates correctly, anything like that. But otherwise, operate it the same way. And that would let access into these carts be so much easier and so much more accessible to Green Bay residents. And I think that would drive a lot of usage as a result of it. So that's my recommendation, is look for a city tag as opposed to a state license. And so that would be registered with the city as opposed to the state. And then insurance, right now, liability insurance is required on low-speed vehicles. I'm suggesting liability insurance would be a good idea to require also on PTVs. While at golf carts, I don't think that that's really a necessity. Again, because we're dropping the speed limits down further and further. And then regulation. What I'm suggesting, as a framework only for the conversation, we already have the motor vehicle enforcement regulations that apply to the low-speed vehicles. I'm suggesting bicycle enforcement for the PTVs and the golf carts as a framework. And I admit on the front end of this that there would need to be some adjustments that would be made to section 29.401 and section 29.403 in order to accommodate golf carts and personal transportation vehicles. So really what I'm looking for here is reduced energy consumption. So here's something else that kind of flips out at me, and hopefully it makes some sense to you, is there is a real need for us to be more conscious of our environmental footprint that we have in today's society. And there's a lot of talk and a lot of discussion going on about big ticket things to do that we would be required to do. Here's something that we can actually do as individuals from a grassroots basis to start that whole process where we're taking steps to reduce energy consumption and reduce the size of the footprint that we have when it comes to personal travel. Now this is what I'm talking about, is these are the short trips. These are neighborhood, might be a shopping trip, pick up dry cleaning, might be to pick up kids, whatever it might be. So these are not the long trips. This is the thousands, the tens of thousands of small 5 miles or less trips that are made inside of the city of Green Bay in order to do just, run your daily life. What's really nice about this? Lower cost, a lot lower cost than some of the other options that we've got right now. And then something that's a little bit soft and squishy, but it's presence in the neighborhood. You're out in the open in these golf carts, or the PTVs. You get to wave at your neighbors and say hello, as opposed to being inside of a 4,000 or 5,000 pound vehicle that's all glass and steel. So it really kind of gets people back into the neighborhood again too. So I think of electric cars of today. Everybody thinks Tesla, right? Man, that's cool. I can't afford one. So here's what I'd like to propose, that the electric car of tomorrow is actually a PTV or a golf cart. And I put up some price tags just so you can see the relative difference and how much easier it would be for us, residents of Green Bay, to get into this form of transportation as opposed to the high-end Tesla version. Considerations, when I was in Nashville earlier this year and they had those little green scooters all over the place, and they did not have the etiquette down for how these things were supposed to be used and could be used. And like you were dashing, trying to get out of the way of these things because they were operating on sidewalks. They couldn't operate on streets. So I think there needs to be a look at this from the standpoint of etiquette and safety, which then would roll into the conversation about regulation, which I proposed on an earlier slide. All right, so what do we talk about? Micromobility is a new concept. It's coming, whether it's Uber or these little scooters, it's coming at us. I talked about the difference between a low-speed vehicle, a PTV, and golf carts. Talked about the hierarchy and the consideration we should have for mass and speed and where this fits inside of that. Also asked to consider a simple registration process with simple regulations. Today versus tomorrow. And the future of in my line of thinking, is golf carts, not a Tesla. So that's really what I came here today to talk about and ask for your help in moving this forward.
Well, very nice.
Yep. Any questions for Mr. Feeney? Or he sits back down, in case we got any questions? No question? Yep.
What was the reaction from Mr. Hansen, our traffic person, when you spoke with him?
Well, he's, first of all, extremely helpful. His reaction was, and I hope I'm not mischaracterizing this, don't see why not, but I have to dig into the details to make sure that there wouldn't be some unforeseen complication that would come from this that would cause more issues than we would want to cause. I think that's a fair representation.
About the police department, was there?
I did. I talked to Officer Young.
He's pretty old.
Jerry Young?
Yeah.
He's one of our traffic officers.
I talked to Officer Young, and prior to that, it was Officer Strauff. So it was Lieutenant Strauff that put me in touch with Officer Young, and so I talked at several levels inside of the police department. There was nothing that was put out there that was, no, you can't do this because of. It was, again, almost like Dave Hansen was, we'd have to see if there were any unforeseen, unintended consequences of the action.
Right after this presentation, I have 5 right off the top.
Okay, can we hear him?
When you talked about insurance with a low-speed vehicle or a golf cart, you say absolutely it doesn't need to be insured. I'm wondering if the person is driving, as you say, a low-speed golf cart is 15 miles an hour.
Golf cart, right?
If they hit my car and they don't have insurance, who's going to pay for the car? Because that's now on the road, that if it's a regular vehicle and a 15-mile-an-hour crash is a pretty significant crash. It could cause quite a bit of damage. The next question is seatbelts. Are there going to be allowed seatbelts in there? And going along with that, juveniles, kids, car seats. How are they going to be allowed to ride in it? Are there going to be helmets? Are that required? Just in terms of, and then when you talk about a city tag, that's going to have to be, because it's like, okay, well, we need to inspect the golf cart to make sure it's road ready, or the cart. I don't know what our certifications would have to be, or what we would have to do as a police department to make sure that that cart, when it's out on the road, is not going to break down in the middle of a street and be a potential, not nuisance, but could cause an accident. So those are just something. Could it be doable? Yeah, but I think a lot of research and a lot of discussion needs to be done to address because to me, the insurance, kids, seatbelts, right off the top are things that I think need to be perfectly clear. Because if I'm driving a regular car and someone's in a golf cart, I drive golf carts when I visit my in-laws down in Florida. They drive them all over the place, and I've seen the way some of them drive. If they come out and smash into my car, and we don't require them to carry some type of insurance, is the person that's on the road liable? Because the golf cart could do a lot more damage than a bicycle or a skateboard. So I think those are some things that would need to be discussed, or the police would have issues.
Yeah, I was thinking seatbelts as well, and I think as far as who can drive them, I think we probably still want.
Yeah, the 16, but a
I think even in your presentation, you had a
Driver's license.
Yeah, but a passenger, you're gonna allow
Right.
an 8-year-old to sit next to a 16-year-old driver.
Yeah.
Well, if he's got his driver's license, it'd be like
Well,
any
which-
car.
But then the 8-year-old doesn't have a seatbelt.
Oh, but seatbelt, yeah, that's,
So.
yep, understood.
Thank you, Mike, thank you for the presentation. It's not just, what the lieutenant mentioned, but it's, also if a golf cart hits you, but if you hit them, you're going a lot faster in a car, and there's all sorts of consequences with that as well. I guess the question I had, you were talking about driving on Green Bay streets, correct?
Yes.
Now, we have a lot of communities surrounding Green Bay, so Howard, and Bellevue, and all these others. So if you drive over there, what ramifications or liabilities do you foresee with that? Is that just a police
Well, I think if you're going to
matter?
operate one of these things, you're going to need to know where you can operate it at. If you
I-
go into Ashwaubenon and they don't have any approval to do that.
Right, and
I would
that's-
fully expect that the police department would pull me over and ask what the hell I was doing.
Yeah. Well, I suppose the goal for you would be to get it everywhere.
Exactly.
So there's,
Well,
it's
it-
seamless, but like I said, we've got 7 or 24 communities in Brown County.
If it's a good idea, and that's what we're trying to flush out here right now, right? If it's a
Right.
good idea, it should be saleable. It should be something that we can say, hey, Green Bay's going to try this, and And why are they gonna try it? They wanna make this personal transportation option available to their residents. So it's lower cost, lower footprint, lower emissions, easier on the roads. Well, we would like it if you guys would try it as well.
What other communities have you studied that have this?
You know, I went back and I asked the industry person that I've had contact with if there is a list, and there is not a list. So I did a lot of searching online. I found some random information on the internet that would say, here are some places that have approved it. One big example that was provided to me is actually in Georgia, Peachtree City, Georgia. 100,000 people. And they have authorized PTVs and low-speed vehicles.
Is that more of a senior type community?
No.
Oh, it's just a regular city?
Mhm.
Randy? I'm good with that. Alder.
Yep, Alderdorf?
Thank you. And I do have a question. You can stay right there because I have to come up here because Randy's very strict about
Yes.
coming to the podium. But I'm thinking about the climate in Green Bay. You know, Florida, Georgia, they don't have much winter, and we do. And I don't, do they have heaters and windows and?
You can get them, yes, absolutely. They're fully enclosed with heat and all that stuff, if that's
The golf
what you
carts.
want. Not the golf carts. Actually, the low-speed vehicles come fully enclosed if you want them that way. And I think that PTVs, you can actually get the sides for them with heaters in them as well.
Thinking about their ability to have traction too, you know,
So,
on the city streets. and
Fully
stuff.
understand, and I'm not suggesting that these would be year-round vehicles. It
Not
would be
year-round,
just like,
possibly. Okay.
just like a bicycle, you would only use it when the season's permitted.
Okay.
Or a boat, you only use a boat when the season's permitted.
Or weather. I mean, sometimes in winter, depending. Not always.
I would also like us to be considering the wheel tax.
Yeah, well, and I think that would be part of the registration,
Vehicle
something we'd
registration
have to
fee.
consider
Mhm.
is including something for the roads. I don't know if it need to be as much. They're not as, they don't wear as tear as much, but that would be a discussion to have. What would be appropriate?
There's a huge discussion that we need to have
Yeah.
on this.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely huge. But
Mhm.
yeah, those are just two other things that
Yep.
I wanted to run. Thank
Yep,
you.
thank you.
So
Jeff?
No, well, I was just gonna say, you bring up some good points, and I think, as we move forward as a community, looking at alternatives or looking for better ways to serve the citizens and that, I'm all for looking at it, but like I said, we need to look at the safety issues and all the various ramifications of it. And it's a discussion that, I think is good to have. And I think first, when you called me and said golf carts, my first thought was, really? Golf carts? I mean, the impression is driving, I was gonna say Caddyshack, but, just driving around and just thinking, okay, how are we gonna do this in a city street? And then I worried about, crossing, major, Packer land, coming to a red light and then, traffic and stuff like that, and, that type of thing. But,
So inside of the bicycle regulations that are out there for the city of Green Bay, they actually have specified in there that you can't use bicycle on, I think, the downtown bridges. I think that's in there. So using that same framework, I believe that we could say the same thing with golf carts. If there are certain streets that we wanted to exempt from golf carts, or bridge crossings or something, I believe that that would be entirely doable. And as far as the safety aspect of it, admit it, it's not a 5,000-pound vehicle. But it's also not a moped with two wheels that, it is a much more stable and much more substantial vehicle in any of the three cases than a motorcycle or a moped.
Are mopeds required to have insurance?
That I would have to look into. I think of a moped as a small little thing.
Right,
and Some
right.
of them now are almost like mini motorcycles, so I think it depends on how many cc's the motor is.
2 Cs or 3 Cs?
Yeah.
Motorcycles have to be,
Yes.
okay. Yeah. I think this is a great discussion, and I'm really excited to dive into this and see what we can do. I don't know what we can do, but.
We could possibly make an impact in the community by doing something positive and let consumers let our constituents, your constituents have access to more options in transportation, and do it with the idea that possibly it's better for the environment, better for the pocketbook.
Was this something that over time, I mean, how long ago did you lock onto this, or you've been doing this for a while?
No, well, we talked a couple of months ago, so probably a month before that.
But you saw the idea and you thought, oh, this could work. And
So
I
it
just-
wasn't too long after we were in Nashville, and, and almost got run over by those little scooters. And you think, well, what the heck is going on here? And then you get, I got back here and thought, heard about big ideas about trying to enforce us as consumers, as citizens, to go green. Okay, I mean, everybody's entitled to be a part of that conversation. So you take those two things, the micro-mobility concept and then the electric cart or gas cart even, because even a gas cart uses much less energy than a 5,000-pound vehicle. And you think of the number of trips that are made inside of the city of Green Bay that are 5 miles or less, where these things would be a perfect fit. And you look at the vehicles that we drive, and it's overkill for what we're trying to get done. And those three things kind of came together, and that's why I thought it would be a good idea. I do not have one of these vehicles right now because it's not legal to drive them on the streets. But I would get one if it was.
I think one thing too is, you look at America versus Europe and some of these other areas where bicycles and other types of transportation are utilized a lot more. We are very automotive in this country, and our committee, the committee changed it from it's bicycle, pedestrian, and
Oh, yeah. We added pedestrian and bike.
we added pedestrian and bicycle to that, because so we're
And
looking
traffic.
at traffic, we're looking at other elements of that, so we understand that, but, I'm just saying, the way Green Bay is set up, it's 14 miles wide by 4 miles, it's stretched out quite a bit. Granted, you would be saying you'd be driving in a particular area, you're not gonna go necessarily all the way back and forth, but like I said, there's a discussion to be had. I think, I'd be willing to listen further on that.
Any other questions? Anything else you'd care to add?
Nope.
Anyone else care to speak on this?
Motion to close the floor.
Motion to close the floor by Alder Steuer, seconded by Alder Vanderleest. Well, gentlemen, shall we refer this to staff with a few specifics for them to look at, and we get the discussion going?
Yeah, I was gonna maybe ask law, as far as ordinances or things that you know of on the books. Anything that stands out with this?
We were just doing very
Just
quick
basic.
research, and there
Right.
are a number of southern states that have passed state regulations, so it's certainly something
So
we can start
they're out there.
researching and looking into what would work. And probably look at it simultaneously with the electric scooter ordinance that was referred to staff a couple months ago, because I think it would be interrelated a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking for a motion to refer back to staff for further?
To refer to staff.
Refer to staff for further study. I would make that motion.
And seconded by Alder Stevens. Motion by Alder Steuer, seconded by Alder Stevens. Any further discussion? Do you have enough to chew on to start going? Okay. Well, good. Let's get it going. Motion by Alder Steuer, seconded by Alder Stevens. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate bringing this forward.
Yes.
Thanks, Jess.
Yep, number 6.
Number 6, consideration with possible action on the Green Tier Community Resolution, which was referred from the Sustainability Commission. I did get an email from Alder Weary. He had told me he was going to be giving me some specifics on it, but he just came up with something a little general. Didn't have time to put together an in-depth email regarding the cooperation agreement with other cities. He would suggest to hold it for more research. We do not have to partner with other cities. We can partner with the state and avoid some of the unrelated issues in regards to improving in environmental matters. I thought the chair from the Sustainability Commission might be able to point a few lights on us. I think there's some misunderstandings about the agreement. It's not a binding agreement.
It's a resolution.
Yeah, so I'm not sure where the concerns really fall, but if I could get a motion to open the floor Motion open the floor by Alder Stevens, seconded by Alder Vanderleest. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, floor is now open. If Seth Hoofmeister would mind.
Were you a teacher? He was a teacher.
That would be me, Seth Hoffa. No, Seth Hoffmeister. I'm the chair of the Sustainability Commission, like Randy mentioned. Just a tip for you guys, when we have our commission meetings, we keep a tally of Randy's different puns. Makes the time go by a lot faster, so we share in
we love 'em.
our collective struggle together. But yeah, I thought I would just, provide an opportunity to answer any questions about Green Tier and the program. I think that Alderman Weary's email doesn't necessarily represent exactly what Green Tier Legacy is. So we had a presentation from the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources, Green Tier staffers last December, I believe, about the Green Tier Legacy community. And really it's an informal network of municipalities that was established 6-ish years ago for cities that aren't Madison, that aren't Milwaukee, that don't have full-time departments working on a lot of sustainability issues to share resources, share best practices, and really have one common point of contact within WDNR, which would be the Green Tier Legacy program. So there's a number of cities that are already members of Green Tier: Appleton, Ashland, Bayfield, Eau Claire, Fitchburg, La Crosse, Monona, Middleton, New Richmond, Oshkosh, Port Washington, Sheboygan, Stevens Point, Racine, Wauwatosa, Wisconsin Rapids, a number of villages, counties, municipalities, the League of Wisconsin Municipalities, and really it's a very informal network that I guess we're not going to be beholden to what other municipalities are going to be doing, but we can learn from their successes, we can learn from their mistakes, and get some of those resources from the state level. And in some cases, as the program overview mentions, if there are grants available through the state, it gives us a couple extra points being a member. There's no cost associated with being a part of this program, which I personally like a lot. And it also provides a unique framework to help us analyze what we are currently doing within the city. They have, it's a matrix and a score system that analyzes different things like transportation. Is it walkable? Is it bikeable? Green infrastructure, energy, things like that, and then provides us a framework at the end of the year to have an annual report to figure out what we're doing good, what we're not doing, share any successes for the past year, and highlight any challenges. So, I guess with that, is there any questions?
And when the Sustainability Commission first met, one of our main tasks to begin with was to set goals and everything. And Green Tier, I mean, we didn't have to reinvent the wheel. They have it all laid out. So it was very helpful and useful in that regard as well.
Where did it originate, Green Tier? Where did it originate originally, as far as this whole, I mean,
Who started Green Tier?
Wisconsin DNR did about, the document I have says more than 5 years ago. It's probably a year old. I would imagine it might have predated 2010 though, so perhaps a Doyle administration project. So it's relatively recent.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's all I have.
Any other questions?
I got a question. It says here, to assist the city of Green Bay preparing implementation and improving overall watershed plans. Municipality, what expertise would you have in helping, let's say, Green Bay Water? In other words, you have people that are qualified in this particular field, on your committee?
No, I would imagine that would be staff scientists at the Wisconsin DNR that would be able to provide, resources for any initiative dealing with that or anything else. So that would be relevant city staff. That would be having a point of contact with them on specific projects. So it's really, very a la carte almost. There's no, prescribed, this is what you're going to do with Green Tier, but if we want to, assist or have state resources assist us with watershed, that is made available to us.
Would you say that's a la golf course?
Not like, jeez. That's why you got to do the check marks.
Yeah. Yeah. The commission would just I mean, any initiative, the commission would help digest what that initiative would be, gather the information, make a recommendation to council, but council decides. You know, can either say, yes, we like this, thank you very much for your work, and we'll do this, or no, we want to tweak this and that, or no, this is great, but we just can't afford it now, or whatever. I mean, the council does not give up any authority by being part of the green tier. The council is still in complete control, and so that's why I'm not really sure what Alder Weary's concerns are, because we're not obligated to anything. This is just a working document, and a document to help us process and go forward in a green way. So there's no, if there's a part of it, I mean, he mentioned the charter, he's had some concerns there, but there's nothing in the charter that obligates us to do anything.
Well, like I said, it is a resolution, so.
Yeah. So I'm not
You
sure.
have to spell, some of the whereases were misspelled, but that's minor.
Whereas,
That's whereas,
whereas
Toward
are
the
the
bottom.
whereases.
toward the bottom. No big deal, but, yeah, as far as a resolution, I don't have a real big problem with that. You know, like I said, it'll be a case-by-case basis. That'll come to us, and we can look at each merit of that. I guess, you know, the only thing is, like, you'll have all these different agencies and such working on it, so, I mean, there'll be, as far as monies that are out there, I mean, if you work for the DNR, you're just gonna be, if there's a project, they'll be brought in as a consultant, or, you know, I guess there's a few things that I have questions about, as far as how it would be implemented. You know,
But that would come with each individual.
each project, and we would figure out who would be coming into it to
Right.
work on it.
I'm assuming the commission would have that all in place, and it'd be for us to look at and decide.
Would we become a tier 1 or a tier 2?
I believe a tier 1 would be what the resolution language would suggest.
Is
Or
it
is there-
necessary to put it in a resolution form?
It already has, but we've already adopted it. The city
On the
has.
Sustainability
tier.
Commission.
No, we haven't.
You adopted it, right?
Yeah, the
Right,
commission did.
but it was reported out to the council, and they accepted our,
Oh.
Has it been adopted or legal, can I ask legal that question?
I mean,
I'm not sure.
this came forward?
It did.
We approved it.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
council, yeah. The commission adopted it,
Mhm.
that went before council, that was over a year ago, I think, a while ago, and council said, yeah, that's,
Yes, it was.
because it really, again, it's just a working document for the commission and the city, and it does not obligate the council to anything, so there's really no reason to be concerned about it that I can see.
So you're looking for a motion to approve?
Well, I think we just a motion to receive and
Place on file?
place on file.
Is that it?
I mean, because it's already been approved, we don't need to approve it again. It's just
Has
that,
the resolution been approved?
yeah, I'm sure we did. Yeah, we did it at the commission, we did.
No. I think otherwise we wouldn't be here.
I'm sure we did, but I'd like
Was
to
it
know.
sent back? Is that how it got here?
Well, this was over a year ago.
No, we
So
just.
it's-
Oh, okay, oh, yeah, well, so, yes, please.
So it was sent to improvement and service for further action, and it was not heard there.
Oh, that's right, this is, yes. Yes, so it would be just a motion to approve.
I'd like to have more discussion on it as far as the other committees.
That's
Before
not-
we approve it, we really haven't talked much about it as far as accepting it as a resolution.
What's the downside to accepting it as a resolution? It
I'm
doesn't,
not saying there's a downside, but I'm just saying I think it'd be nice if we had a little more discussion on it. Why don't we
Have
hold it
input from the
for
council.
the next meeting? And
It's not, this is
legal
time
can get us
sensitive?
all the information.
what information do you want legal to get you?
I don't, in other words, was it accepted or wasn't accepted? In other words, is it on our books as a resolution at this point?
No,
This
not a-
resolution.
no, because it went,
Well,
I've forgotten, we did this, I'm sorry, we did this a year ago, and it was sent to INS. INS never put it on their agenda. That's why it ended up getting kicked back to the
Has
commission.
INS taken a look at it yet?
No, they
I'd
put it on their
recommend we send it
agenda.
back to INS then.
But they're not putting it on their agenda. That's why it came to our committee.
Why aren't they putting it on?
I
That's a
don't
really
know.
great question.
Pardon?
Right.
That's a really great question.
Yeah, we would love to know too.
And
Well,
that way the Department of Public Works can get a little more, it goes through Mr. Grenier's office then, is that correct? It goes back to INS?
Yeah, well, Grenier's office has been involved with the commission as well. They came and,
Why don't we let them take a shot at it and get their recommendations and
I mean, that's difficult when they won't put it on the agenda, which is why
So
I'm here
It would-
today.
It's placed on.
It's gotta be on the- they have to put it on
It's
their
placed on this
chair.
agenda, so
They
we
have it for a
can
year.
take action on it.
The chair
This
gonna
is-
put it on?
for a year.
Yeah, it's, well, since
I'm
December,
not
so.
familiar with the history of this
I recommend we
resolution, so I'm
send it
not
back
sure
to
where it
Improvement
originated,
Services.
but it's in front of the
Grenier's
committee
involved then,
tonight, so.
he knows what's going on as far as the different things they're trying to do for environmental, whatever.
I see no purpose to that because one, any change can be made at any time. I mean, there's no reason to change anything because it's just a working document.
I guess, John.
In other words,
not
it's
binding.
going
It's
to
not
change.
binding. It's not binding.
It's not binding and it's going to change as the commission works through it. It's going to change. It's just a guideline and provides us materials and checklists, matrix, that's the word I'm looking for, to help us organize our work. So,
Why did INS
not,
not put it on?
I don't know. No one
And
knows.
and like John's, you said if you send it back to INS, they might say forget it again. So
Yeah.
part of me says it's not binding. I don't think it's a big problem. But, it might be one of those situations where are
I
you
think
looking
Department of
for
Public
weigh-in from the
Works-
council? Are you looking for weigh-in from everybody on this?
Well,
Instead of just-
basically, I think the Improvement Service Committee with the Department of Public Works, I think they should be involved. This is an environmental type thing, and Green Bay Water would be involved.
Well-
And then we could get the feedback from them. I would say, let it go to the proper committee, be it Improvement Services. Let them weigh in on it, and if they don't want to weigh in on it, they can bring it back to us. Maybe we can talk to Grenier in the meantime, and ask him why they're not, looking into it. He should be the main man. In other words, he's, as far as the environment part of it, they put the brine on the roads, they put the salt on the roads.
Mhm.
They're the ones doing, in other words, they're the ones that are involved with the environmental part of as far as Green Bay Water, they should be involved as well.
But they will be involved when something comes forward through the commission to council.
Well, I think they should be involved before the resolution gets put in ink. That's my thoughts.
But why?
Well,
They're the main ones, we're not. In other words, it should go back to their committee. Grenier should weigh in on this.
I mean, that was why we sent it there in the first place,
Yep,
and
he's
we've
the man
had,
that should be weighing in on it, and they shouldn't be passing the buck along.
well, we've had
Well, I
10,
agree with that.
I would,
we've
I
had
would-
10 months where we've been waiting for the committee to weigh in on it, and what it's depriving us of is, resources and a framework for figuring out how we can do better.
I'd be
There's
in
no
support
downside
of-
to taking
My
it
motion
up.
would be to send it back to Improvement
Oh.
Services.
but to make sure that it's on their agenda. If they don't put it on their agenda, it's not gonna bode well for them. I don't think.
Well,
I think it needs to be heard, and then we can get feedback. At first blush, the resolution's fine, but, in deference to all their Vanderleest, I think it should be heard at INS. I think it should be.
That's where it should have, that's what we said, it should have been.
So it
Yep.
didn't happen once, it should happen again, and we'll make sure that it's on the
So
agenda.
can we require it to be on the next agenda?
No, we can't, that I'm aware of.
And
I think
who's-
Celestine can see that,
Who's,
in other words, that he gets some
is
input
that,
into that
is that
committee.
Nicholson?
That, I don't know who chairs INS. Is that Nicholson?
Yes,
Has anybody
City.
asked them why it hasn't been put on?
yes.
And the response has been?
Uh,
See, that's what I'm worried about, that he won't hear it.
It should go back to their committee.
And if they don't hear it, John, then I think there's a problem.
Yeah, there's a
That
problem then.
they-
In other words,
The
they're not
committee,
doing their
committee
job.
needs to hear
Right.
it. I mean, I will back you up if they make sure they hear it. If they don't hear it, then it's gonna not bode well for them, and then I'm gonna definitely go
You're
with
the
this.
council chairman?
All right, so if we make a motion that we forward this to the INS for their next meeting, which would be
The second week of November.
second week of November, if they don't put it on their agenda, it comes right back to us.
And
Is
then-
that a dual, is that motion that,
We can do that.
You're making the motion,
We need
yeah.
we need to close the floor first.
right,
Oh.
but I mean, right, I'm not gonna make a
No,
motion
we
now,
can
but I'm
do-
just,
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
Yep.
Motion to close the floor.
motion to close the floor by Alder Steuer, second by Alder Stevens, motion by Alder Vandeliste, that this goes to INS for their next meeting. If it's not put on their agenda, it comes right back to us.
So it's up to them.
Yep,
And
okay.
if they don't hear it,
All right,
then it's gonna be on them.
it'll be quick then, won't be much longer.
We'll get it done in less than
Well,
a year.
right.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, it's not time sensitive, right?
well,
It's kind of.
Kind
a
of.
little.
I know the
mean,
floor
it's-
is closed, but I mean, it's resources we could have had for the last 12 months that we
Okay.
haven't had because of,
Let's just get through this one thing, and then November 12th, whatever, I think we can do it. So,
I think they should hear it.
they should have, yeah, long time ago.
Grenier should weigh in on it, and their committee.
We'll be at the meeting. We'll be at the meeting.
No, I think it's on the agenda.
Well,
Any other discussion on this then, or?
Hold on.
How about
Or-
this, Alder?
Oh, yes,
I think I'll just blow it at council. This is kind of ridiculous. We've been batting this around for 10 months. Improving the services hasn't done it. Now it came to this committee, and you guys want to bat it back to them? I just don't think that's appropriate at all. We asked for it to come to this committee as a council at the last meeting.
Well,
So it
council
should be
will
here.
listen to it. Council will listen to it then. You know, when you pull it. We'll talk about it then.
Okay, well, I think that that's what should
that's-
be appropriate. We should be
I like-
talking about this at council.
you know what, how about we do this? How about we make a motion to approve this? If Nicholson or Grenier wants someone to send it to INS, they can pull it and make a motion to send it to that committee.
My motion was made that we send it back to Improvement and Services. That's where it should go, and that was my motion. that we send it
Right,
back to-
that was your motion, it's been seconded.
And-
I'm asking you if you wanna,
I don't want to change the motion. I think they should hear it. Mr. Grenier should hear it, and that committee, they're in there.
okay, well, I agree with you, but I think, I like the idea better, so I'm not gonna support this motion. I like the idea that we approve it, it goes to council, someone from INS can pull it and say, we'll listen to it, and then I'll support that if that's what they do. But if they don't, then we're moving forward on this like we should be doing.
My motion stands as I
Yep,
stated.
yep, motion, we'll have a vote, do we need to do this on the
Yep.
board if we're?
Who's the
I'll start the
second?
vote.
Yeah.
So the motion is to refer to INS, and if the committee doesn't take up the item, to refer back to PMP.
Right,
So a yes vote sends it to INS, a no vote does not.
well,
So that fails on a 2-2.
so the motion fails. So how about a motion that we approve it, and if INS wants it, they can pull it? Then we know
They
that
could do that.
they can do that.
Yeah, they can.
So is there a motion to approve?
motion approved.
Motion approved by Alder Stevens,
I'll say.
seconded by Alder Steuer. Should we vote on the board?
You can.
Okay.
Someone's got to pull it.
Yeah,
That
fine.
passes 3-1 with Alder Vanderleest voting no.
Okay, that's fine. Good. Information of the liquor violation report. Oh, are we ready to move on?
Now we are.
The liquor violation report for October 28, 2019. Staff?
We had one violation, it was pretty much a verbal warning where the beach house did not call and notify us.
Thanks, Alder.
of the fight that happened inside their establishment.
I'm sorry, which one?
The beach house at 1542 University received a property referral. There was a disturbance inside their business that they did not report to us.
Ah, okay. But we found out anyway.
Yes. The
Good
victim
job.
called us later.
Yeah, okay.
Receive and place in file?
Receive and place 5 by Alder Steuer. Second by Alder Stevens. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That has been received and placed on file. Thank you very much. And
Motion to adjourn?
motion to adjourn by Alder Steuer.
Second.
Seconded by Alder Vandeleest.
All in favor? Want to leave that suit?
Yeah.
I'm waiting for you.
I wanted a moment of suspense. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you one and
That
all.
wasn't a question, that's a motion to adjourn. It sounded like I was, like one.
Very good question.